Hey guys, what is up? Mike here, Laker Talk. Let's talk Lakers basketball. So the Lakers preseason is over. I want to recap that and give my thoughts on how I think it went. And I want to give my honest opinion on Zach Norvell Jr. He's been impressive the last few games, getting a lot of attention, and to the point where it kind of drew my attention because I really didn't know who he was. So I had to kind of look back at, okay, he came from Gonzaga in his summer league games and his preseason games, and really just kind of like, really impressive what he's been doing. But I want to give my honest opinion on how I think his career in the short term with the Lakers will play out, and give some comparisons. Because as we know, if somebody puts up a couple of some good numbers in the Lakers uniform, we think they're the next great thing, whether it's Alex Caruso or somebody else. But sometimes it always doesn't pan out that way. So I'm gonna give my honest opinion on that. But first, let me recap the Lakers preseason. So the Lakers preseason, in my opinion, excellent. The only two things, like kind of notches, that I didn't really like. Kuzma wasn't there. We didn't get to see Kuzma kind of build up his conditioning and play with our guys. And Alex Caruso, in my opinion, took a backseat where we thought he might have a bigger role this season. And to me, he wasn't impressive, or he didn't take that leap forward that I thought. And I keep saying that, it just came out that he had a bone bruise, so maybe he was injured or something like that, because it didn't show that he didn't have his lift this preseason, where last year he would play above the rim a lot in different scenarios, but he didn't do any of that. And he just kind of settled for a lot of stuff that he wasn't overly aggressive, that I thought, getting a 2-year deal with the Lakers. And that was just something that I think was a downer to me. But other than that, LeBron looked great. LeBron looked better than I thought he would early, meaning he had a pep in his step, and his conditioning looked really good. Like his bounce and his liveliness looked really good throughout the preseason. Though I thought that would come, but I thought that would come later. And it really shows, like, I know in the offseason he was saying like this is a comeback year, and it really showed how happy and energetic he is and ready to lead the squad. So super happy about that. He looks good and healthy. AD looked great that first game, and then kind of coasted, which I love. He didn't go too hard and get injured or anything like that. We had that scare with the thumb, but other than that, he looks great. So our two pillars are healthy and ready for the opening day. JaVale looked great. The stuff that he did last year and beyond that carried over to this preseason. He looks really good. Dwight Howard, though he looked stiff early, he's kind of caught up to the NBA speed, which he was out all last year, and now he looks better at the tail end of second half of this preseason. So our two bigs looked great. Danny Green, did his thing. Wasn't going crazy, but did look good. Avery Bradley looked super impressive. Compared, obviously last year he was injured part of the year. He looks healthy and super impressive to us defensively, and put up some good numbers. Troy Daniels did some things in the first game. Other than that, I didn't see too much of him. Dudley wasn't that impressive to me. It's basically what I expect from Dudley. Quinn Cook was very impressive to me. The first game he played, and the shots that he took and he put up, and was able to get buckets pretty quick. So I'm expecting big things out of Quinn Cook coming off the bench. KCP was KCP. Rondo, didn't see too much of Rondo after that first game. But I'm curious to see how his minutes fits in with Quinn Cook, and all our other guys and things like that. Who else? The Freak's brother, whatever. I didn't, K-Cock, we talked about him a little bit. And so that leads us to, I don't know if I'm missing, but let's just go over to Norvell Jr., Zach Norvell Jr. He was impressive. When guys weren't playing and he was able to get some minutes, he was really aggressive and ready and able to get some buckets and able to do some things. And so you look at somebody like Norvell Jr., he's 6'4", he came from Gonzaga. He would have went drafted in the second round if he had stayed another year, kind of like Josh Hart. Josh Hart stayed 4 years at Villanova. Zach Norvell Jr. probably is one of those guys. Could have benefited from another year in college. But he left after 2 years, went undrafted, but you can see he has NBA talent. Anybody that can come in and play well in the summer league, which he did. I think he scored, above 14 points, something like that, a couple of times. Or and summer league is not really an indication of who can play, but it is an indication of who can't play. And when you can score 15 points, a couple times here and there in the summer league, and then you bring that over to preseason, basically you're NBA ready, or you're NBA talent. Whether it's G League or you're in and out on a 2-way contract, if you can't put up those numbers in summer league and whatnot, then you obviously, you need some work. But he's done that. He did that in the summer league, and then he got his opportunity in preseason and continued that when he did have those opportunities. I didn't really see his percentage on his 3-point shot, but he shot the ball well, and it looks like he can shoot in Gonzaga. He shot here, and he can shoot the 3 ball here, in preseason. So it looks good. Now, the one thing, in my opinion, you got a guy like Norvell Jr. who is 6'4" and that has NBA talent. The problem with him is that he doesn't do one. You can't pinpoint and go, what does he do great? What does he do well? Because he's a little undersized at like that 6'6" typical shooting guard, right? Like people compare him to Michael Redd, but Michael Redd was a little taller, right? Like at 6'6" and things like that. Norvell is like, he's 6'4". So he has that point guard height, but he's really not a true ball handler kind of guy. He's coming, setting guys up and things like that. Though he can do that pretty well. So he does a lot of things well, but he doesn't do it like great. And so he's like those tweeners, right? And that's kind of like why he went undrafted. And that's why I think it's going to be hard for him to fit in somewhere. It's kind of like, unfortunately, he's going to be a guy, in my opinion, I think he's going to be like Vanderblue. You know how Vanderblue, 6'5", can actually play, has NBA type game, but really doesn't have that one thing that keeps him on a team for a long period of time. Zach Norvell Jr., I think, will kind of fall into that boat, unfortunately, because he's not like a Jordan Clarkson, where you say Jordan Clarkson is around the same size, but Jordan Clarkson, when he came up in the second round, the one thing about Jordan Clarkson was that he was kind of like a Derrick Rose, mini Russell Westbrook type of kind of like playing above the rim, which was very impressive. And then he could also handle the ball and do some things from the outside and mid-range, right? Floaters and whatnot. So you have that particular talent. And so you have a combination of all those things. Norvell doesn't play above the rim, plays below the rim, but he's a little smaller. He could be undersized on the defensive end. Vanderblue never played above the rim, but he had that slashing ability, the ability to lay up the ball in different angles and things like that, and get some buckets. But he didn't really handle the ball particularly well and hold the ball long enough to create for others and things like that. Norvell is a little bit more of a ball handler. The thing is this: you're trying to compare him. People are saying, Cuttino Mobley. I shot out a tweet, so people were hitting me back like, who can we compare Zach Norvell Jr. to? Somebody said Cuttino Mobley. I like that. Cuttino was a little tall, a little bit more of a, I don't know, like kind of like shooting guard. I don't know. Somebody said Michael Redd, Cuttino Mobley. I'm throwing out like names like Anthony Peeler with the Lakers, a lefty with the Lakers, Kareem Rush with the Lakers. So those are the type of players I think you might compare him to. Though it's a good story, though he has NBA game, he's impressive, I think it's going to be hard for him to find a spot on the team, a consistent role on the team, to where you're really going to be calling on him for some big minutes and to fulfill some things. Definitely on the 2-way contract, he's going to be up and down, just how you saw Caruso's kind of like thing play out. He's going to be up and down inside on the team, back to G League, on the team, back to G League, and he will get some playing time on the squad, barring injury and things like that. The question is, if he continues to impress and he just basically shuts everybody up He shuts me up to where he's putting up buckets and it's hard to keep him off the floor. Then you will see him on the squad. Then you will see Lakers find some room, you know, for him to be there. But as of right now, I think he's going to be that guy, that Vanderblue type guy that we kind of string along for the next couple years, in and out of the G League, playing great at Summer League, playing good in preseason on the practice squad. But I think it's going to be hard for him to find, that's my opinion, I think it's going to be hard for him to find a spot on the road due to his tweener size, the 6'4" size, where he's in between that guard and shooting guard level, where we really, at times, would need a point guard. But then you have Quinn Cook, you got Caruso, you got, you know, Rondo. I don't know if you're going to waive those guys over him or whatnot. But he can definitely get buckets over those guys. But you got a squad where you're going to have guys get buckets. You're going to have Kuzma. You're going to have LeBron. You're going to have Anthony Davis. You're going to have all the other guys. You're not going to have a guy that you can just sit back and watch and handle the ball like he does. That's his game. He handles the ball and he creates for himself and things like that. You really need like puzzles, right? You need pieces to this overall puzzle. So that's my thoughts on Norvell Jr. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? You think it's gonna be hard for him? You think he might have that Vanderblue type early career with the Lakers, where it's kind of like hard to really find a spot for him? And how do you compare him to any other players in the league? Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for commenting, liking, subscribing. As always, thanks for following me. Appreciate everybody supporting my channel. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MikeSportsLA, and click on my face wherever it ends up after this video. That little circle, click there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's get it. I'll holler at you guys. Peace.